How you going, guys, and welcome back to Jet Simmer and the what is it, the AH-64D helicopter. Now, I have had one comment about the X56 as I use the X56, and he would like a more advanced guide to the X56 and the accesses and what I would use. This is probably a little bit more in depth as I will focus both on the pilot and the front seat of the helicopter, as well as both controls that you can use if you want to start the aircraft in the pilot seat in solo play only and then go into the front seat and fly and do all the weapons all at once. You can do it, but that is a lot to ask, and you need to kind of juggle the hovering and the firing of weapons. But if you can do it, you can do it. You can do it in F-18, but the F-18 doesn't hover, so but you can do it if you wish. So we're going to go through an in-depth tutorial on that. So, for example, we'll go through the access commands, and now we're going to start with the pilot one first. So the access commands, we're going to start, so you'll see here, we have the collective. So joystick underscore X is my throttle. Okay, so you can either have joystick underscore X or joystick underscore Y. So you can have that there, and I'll show you what I mean by Y. So there you go. I can split the joystick up. It can be one or the other. Now, you don't really need that. You may end up having jittery things. I just clear it and just do whatever one shows up there. Alrighty, so the collective pitch is pulling back on the stick and pushing forward. Now, you can, in the access, invert those, or you can have a curvature of 24. I have a dead zone of 2. As you can see, the red circle does not want to stay in the square sometimes. So make sure you have a dead zone. Also with the collective, the cyclic roll, okay, so that is just left and right on the joystick, and the signed tune again, and I have a dead zone there because the square does not want to sit in there, and we want to keep it on curvature. Alright, that's that. The next one is the power lever and the power lever right. Now I have it on joystick slider 2, but if you're using the X56, as this is an X56 only joystick guide, these two sliders are on my rotary knob, so RTY4, which I have inverted so I can have them all the way to the left when they're off and all the way to the right when they're on. So they are inverted. So that is now on, and that is left. So the power lever right is on RTY3. The rudder is on, obviously, my T rudder, my Thrustmaster rudder, and that is joy underscore D. Z. People that say that. Then, obviously, my brakes are inverted again, so they're off, now they're on. So, yep, so you need to have that. So I have 2 brakes, left and right. If you don't have that, you can have the one brake either on a button or an access if you have that. My zoom I use is joy underscore Y, and that is on a silver rotary knob on my throttle, on the bottom one that thumb rests. That's what I use to hold the cockpit. All right, so the next commands that you will most definitely need, obviously, is the most significant one, the trigger. That is on my, obviously, trigger button on my stick. I also have the second detent on the little silver button, or blue button if you have the blue button, which has an R on it, and that's my second detent. Now, in this aircraft, you have to have the weapon guard open or close, otherwise the weapon's on fire. So I also have that on my little flappy stick that is behind or in front, however you look at it, the stick. So that is that there on your pinky finger, flight stick. That's those. The next part on the stick is your nose wheel steering or tail wheel lock, which I have on joystick button 5, which again, when you're gripping the stick, there is a button down there, and that is button 5. And I use that for anything tail wheel, whether it's tail wheel lock, nose wheel steering, and the jets, whatever. That's where I keep that. So anything tail wheel or anything that locks wheels, that's what I press. All right, moving on to some of the other stuff that I have. Now let's go all but commands. The hat switch that my thumb rests on, which is an upside down China hat, I have set for my force trim mode switch up, which you will need. So you will need that for most of your trimming. Then I have down, left, and right. Now the left is for some reason auto pilot altitude hold, and I'm still not savvy with it, so I just worry about this up one. The only one you need to trim the aircraft out. We'll get into a trimming tutorial soon because I have finally got it down pat for myself and it works for me, so hopefully. The next button that we're going to have a look at is another China hat that I have on the top right of my stick, and I use that for the up, right, and left. Now that is for your gun, missiles, and rockets, so your weapon action select switches. I also have air-to-air down, so that is for your air-to-air switches, but we don't have side. So that's those. The next button I have is for the George AI helper. Now there's a button on the side of the stick, and that's what I use, or you can just use Control-V that I already. But I just have it there so I don't have to get my hand needle off the joystick. Then my last hat switch that is on the stick, I use to get George, but he is in here, so you have to go to drop-down box, go to George AI helper, access commands, and you will have all your buttons there. So obviously up, down, left, and right, or right and left. You don't need to worry about the hide because the other one has both. So you can take that one in. Right, moving on to the... So on my bottle switches, the SW1 and SW2 and SW3 and SW4, I have the right, left, the power lever left idle, and then power lever left idle off, which is SW2. And for the right power lever is SW4 and SW3. Now remember, I am only using an X56 Rhino, so they may be different to you. But that is what I've got. You can use the one if you wish, if you don't have a lot of space. So the next one we're going to be moving on to, now I don't think I've got anything. Nope. All right, so I have two hat switches, two little silver hat switches. So I have cursor right, cursor up, cursor depress, which is a button that I press in with my thumb, which is the rotary for my zoom. It's the bottom rotary knob of the throttle, the hand grip. And I have also a depress, the cursor depress up the top, which is the top rotary of the hand grip that closes. And then I have all the other down, left, button actions there for the cursor. Now the cursor works on the two MFDs, the front and the rear of the aircraft. So that's what the cursor's for. Again, we will go into that in later. Then the next one that a lot of people probably haven't figured this out yet. Yes, you have a trim, okay? But you also need to worry about your stabilizer out the back of the aircraft. Little elevator that goes up and down. So I have the depress, which will go into stabilator automatic mode. Or you can manually do it by bringing it down or up. Depends on what you're doing in flying. Now you can have a manual mode or automatic mode. So that is down, that is up, or automatic. You probably want to use it in automatic mode most of the time, but eventually you might want to do it. You never know. So that's what I've got there. The next two are the two buttons behind my stick. Now, I just recently put them there, but I think that's for the other seat, not the pilot seat. So we'll go on that later. I also have the chaff dispenser and the flare dispenser. Oh, okay, so there's the float. Okay, I put it on the wrong stick. All right, so chaff dispenser. I have a two-way hat switch. So I have chaff and flare on that, and that is on the back of the. So that is all of that sort of stuff, and it's pretty much mirrored over on the CPG, which is the front seat, on all the controls. Okay. Now there is some differences in some things. Now I do have here we have the on my hat switch on my stick. I have TADS right, link down, HMD up, and FCR left. So that's completely different to what I had last time. The other time it was for weapon selects and all that sort of stuff. Then we have the left-hand grip TADS field of view switch, so that's all your zooms. And then we have DV, flow, and DV. I don't think DVO's in the game. Then we have right trigger first detent, so for the lasers, right detent for the lasers, so laser range finder designator trigger, so first and second. I have those on two little buttons behind. And again, at the front of the I also have my power levers in the same position. And I think that's pretty much self-explanatory where I have that and my two other weapon triggers. So I hope that is more in-depth and it really does help you out. I know this is a second video on my controls, but again, this is for my personal controls, the X56. The other one was just to get you basically flying. So if you have any more questions, definitely comment down below and I will be able to DM you back and we can sort. So this is for X56 only, guys, but it may help you. So thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.